We all know the story of Isaac Newton and the apple. In a flash of genius, he connected a falling apple to the orbiting moon, and boom, the universal law of gravitation was born. It's a story that has been the bedrock of science for over 300 years. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the core idea of gravity was written down in ancient India more than 1,000 years before Newton? What if the secret of gravity wasn't first discovered under an English apple tree, but was chanted in ancient Sanskrit verses? Long before Newton, thinkers in ancient India were looking to the skies. While early texts contain poetic hints of a downward pull, the first real scientific steps came later. In the 5th century CE, the great astronomer Aryabhata declared the Earth was a spinning sphere. This raised a question: why don't people on the other side fall off? His analogy was a round kadamba flower, with people clinging to it like petals, suggesting a force pulling toward the center. A century later, Brahmagupta took it further, stating clearly that it is the nature of the Earth to attract things. It was a solid description of gravity as an attractive force, but it wasn't yet a universal mathematical law. The strongest case for an ancient Indian discovery of gravity comes from the 12th century mathematician Bhaskaracharya II. In his masterpiece, Siddhānta Śiromaṇi, he wrote about the Earth's attractive property, giving it a name, Gurutvākarṣaṇ Shakti. The name itself is a giveaway. Gurutva for heaviness and Akarṣaṇ for attraction. He wrote that objects fall to Earth because of this force. In a huge conceptual leap, he also suggested this same attraction holds the planets and other celestial bodies in their orbits. This was a remarkably advanced understanding, describing an attractive force that not only keeps us on the ground, but also works in the heavens. So, did Bhaskara beat Newton? To answer that, we have to look at what their ideas allowed us to do. First, the concept of attraction. Both described a force pulling things to Earth. On this, ancient Indian thought was centuries ahead. Second, universality. Bhaskara suggested the force held celestial bodies in orbit, but his focus was mainly on the Earth. Newton's genius was in declaring the law was truly universal. Every particle in the universe attracts every other particle. The apple pulls the Earth, just as the Earth pulls the apple. Third, and this is the game changer, the math. Bhaskara described gravity with words. Newton described it with an equation. F equals G. m1 m2/r square. This formula changed everything. It wasn't just an idea, it was a predictive tool. Suddenly, we could calculate the orbits of planets, the rhythm of the tides, and the paths of comets. That predictive power is what separates Newton's work as a scientific revolution. So why isn't Bhaskaracharya as famous as Newton? There's no evidence Newton ever knew of his work. He built on the theories of European scientists like Galileo and Kepler. The point isn't that Newton stole the idea. The real conversation is about recognizing a parallel stream of incredible thinking that has been largely overlooked. The work of Indian scholars shows a deep scientific tradition that laid down crucial pieces of the gravity puzzle centuries before these ideas were common knowledge in Europe. So, did ancient India beat Newton to gravity? The answer isn't a simple yes or no. If the question is, who first conceived of a force of attraction pulling things to Earth, the credit largely goes to Indian thinkers like Brahmagupta and especially Bhaskaracharya. They figured out the what. But if the question is, who defined gravity as a universal, measurable, and mathematical law that unlocked the machinery of the cosmos, that credit belongs to Isaac Newton. He gave us the how much. The story of gravity isn't about one man and an apple. It's a global story, with chapters written in Sanskrit and in Latin. Acknowledging all of them just gives us a richer, more complete picture of science.